It is the RIOT Podcast. Hello. Hello.
Hello, everybody.
Hello. Today in the show, we talk about being stuck in a port-a-potty. And thank you, Michelle, for sending that along.
Is it Michelle?
I think so. You don't think so? You think it's Melissa?
I think it's Melinda, but I can check. Let me go look.
Michelle, it's definitely an M.
I will find it for you.
The other thing I'll tell you is that if you listen, we get it right in the
story. That's all that's
it's
important.
Melinda.
Melinda, yeah.
Yep, there it is. Okay. So thanks, Melinda, for that. We talk biometrics, the power of believing and ballooning at the same time.
The power of believing morphs a bit into more about the balloon stuff, but you'll enjoy it all.
We talk once again about the little Jared Marc that lives inside my head. Key lime pies in our food fight. Well, it's actually key lime pie M&Ms. Needing help. NASA, Armageddon, and the news. We talk Marvel Phase 4. They had their big news. Numbers from the Epic versus Apple lawsuit.
Wait till you hear these numbers, guys. Like, this is crazy.
If you care about video games, this will be of interest to you.
First off, I want to be in their accounting money department. I want to see how those numbers look. Like, that'd be fascinating.
Well, part of how it works out is because they own Fortnite. Fortnite is essentially
printing
like Nintendo. It prints its own money.
Yeah, that's true.
So they're able to do some of these kind of ridiculous things. And we talk about people being angry.
Ta-da! Ding.
And that ding.
And then done. That's it. That means the
Easy
food's
Bake
ready.
Oven is done.
Thanks, guys, for listening. Enjoy the podcast today. Hopefully enjoy it. Text and say hi or send us a story as well if you find something you want us to talk about. Text 877-2RadioU and put, hey, I'm a podcast listener, and include your name.
All right. Have a great day.
Bye.
It's the worst of the riot on RadioU.
If there was anywhere in your worst nightmares that you could be stuck for an extended period of time, where would that be?
That's a good question. I think maybe an elevator would be bad.
If the elevator was up high.
Yeah, you felt like you just didn't know if you'd ever get out.
At any time. Yeah, okay. So how about a porta-potty?
Well, that's the worst. It's a porta-potty's just a non-moving elevator with a toilet in it. So,
but the thing is, not a toilet.
Not a toilet.
In a bucket. It's a large bucket that has a seat on top of the hole.
It'd be the worst. And I think it would take a strong perseverance or something to make your way through what has happened.
So there was a man in Gettysburg National Military Park in South Central Pennsylvania. South Central.
PA.
They said that there was a huge windstorm.
Yeah.
He was in the porta-potty.
Which I don't think you should, but that's fine.
And that's when he found that he had, in fact, been trapped by a big old tree that hit the porta-potty. Here's what I can't tell from these photos because they're too small. Did it knock it over, or is it just that it blocked the door?
That's a good question. I can't tell either.
I think there are some that are, okay, this is what it is. It looks like there was one or two of them that were crushed under the tree, and then one that just blocked the door of the one he was in.
So he was trapped. The crews had to treat it like a car thing where they use the jaws of life sort of thing. Yeah. So they cut away the tree with a chainsaw and then cutting the portable toilet open with another saw. Said he was very lucky. It was a large tree. It just missed totally hitting him. It could have been very much worse.
Yeah, and I don't know if it was his car or not, but they had a car that got hit by a tree as well. They've got a photo of that. Dude, did
they say how long he was in the porta-potty, stuck there? Or?
They do not.
They don't say, okay.
Say how long that he was stuck in there. Just that he was very lucky. And the circumstances have to be pretty bad when they're talking about you being stuck in a porta-potty and they're using the word lucky.
Lucky because it could have been way, way worse.
It could have been way worse. So they did get him out. He does now have a nightmare story.
When there's lightning, you're not supposed to be in the shower or do certain things. When there's high winds, you probably should not go inside the porta-potty. Do you think he thought it was safe, or do you think he had to use the restroom?
That's what I would like to know. Was he seeking shelter? Because that's not a good one.
Not if his car's right there, if his car was nearby.
But you know what? Maybe the storm frightened him, so he needed
Well, the porta-potty frightens more. Yeah, maybe. Like
he was like, I'm so scared. Nerves. I'll be right back.
And was he alone? Was there other people around? Or
I think he was alone.
Oh, goodness. Okay, well, he's safe and he is okay.
He went into the ambulance, taken to the hospital with injuries that were not considered life-threatening.
The worst of the worst. Are you ready? The Riot Podcast. RadioU.
I've started doing something that the little Jared Marc who lives in my head has been criticizing me for.
Well, Jared Marc, one of our artists here at RadioU.
And you know what? Let me give you some context, as Nikki is saying. Jared Marc was one of our artists, and
he still is.
Okay, yes, he is. But there's also a version there's like the real Jared Marc.
Sure.
And then there's the one that lives in my head. Nikki has this privilege as well. There's a version of Nikki that lives rent-free in my head, and a Jared Marc and a few other people. And they're there to criticize me at various times throughout the day. I have a whole, I just have a whole host, imagine a choir of people that are there to discourage me through the day.
Which is sad because your discouragement takes on the faces of the people around you.
Yes.
And it's not necessary.
Well,
but
Nikki,
it does.
You know, I feel like Jared has earned his place in the choir.
He's earned his spot in the head.
Yeah, because he came in here with his little coffee cart, minimizing, and he made us amazing coffee and all these sorts of things. And he criticized me heavily for my coffee choices. And so now every time I get coffee, I have to present my coffee to the Jared Marc that lives in my head for his approval. And most of the time he gives me a smug nod, which is acknowledgement that I exist, but not approval of my choices. And you know what? I've learned to live with that, and it's fine. But lately, I get tired of waiting for my coffee to cool down. Like, I'm there to get coffee, and I want it right now. I don't want it in 10 minutes. So I've been putting an ice cube sometimes, too.
Yeah, what's
in my
wrong with
super
that?
hot coffee. Man,
you're having iced coffee.
Could you please talk to the Jared Marc?
Well, you're not doing anything with it. You're drinking it before.
I'm watering it down.
No, you drink it well before that.
I'm watering it down.
No, you're fine.
And I feel his disapproval. He looks down on me from high atop the place where that version of Jared Marc lives.
Maybe you need to make the coffee a little bit stronger then to counteract if you're adding in some ice cubes to make it. Or, okay, no, this is what a lot of people do. You make a batch of coffee, make ice cubes out of the coffee, and then leave those in the freezer. So then that way, when you're making your coffee, put those ice cubes in it, and it's not watering it down.
Whoa.
Because we always have some coffee left. Just get a little ice cube tray.
See, and this is why it's good to have a little Nikki that lives in your head. Because
she tries to bring to the table.
She's there to offer balance. She's there to offer ideas.
Some ways around it. And so then that way you're having iced coffee, but it's not watering it down.
You know what? I love it. Mm-hmm. I love it.
And you can get the little ice cube tray. You know, like not the big one. So
it's not the big ones, yeah.
Just like the little, not quite like Sonic Ice, but just like the little fun ones.
Okay, is it my imagination, and I could be way wrong, but the fridge here at RadioU...
They're smaller ice.
Didn't it used to make regular size ones, though?
It's always been smaller ice. It's a petite ice.
It's weird. That's the thing I've noticed. I'm like, man, am I dreaming?
No,
Did the ice get smaller? Are my hands getting bigger?
No.
Okay.
Nope, it's always been that size.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we had this talk.
There's no fresh by date because it was spoiled when they made it. Worst of the Riot. RadioU.
Out this Friday. When's May 7th? Today's the 4th.
Yeah,
then Wednesday's
Friday.
the 5th, 6th, 7th. Okay. Yeah. Out this Friday is Resident Evil 8 Village.
The game?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. No.
Haven't seen a lot on that, but that doesn't mean anything.
That's because you and I live at different parts of the internet.
Oh, you see a lot of it.
That? I'm seeing a lot for it.
Hey, I got tons of Mortal Kombat stuff. So
Did you?
they
targeted you.
They targeted me on that, but they don't think that I want to watch any of the Resident Evil stuff or play the game.
Hey, I bought Resident Evil 2 and 3, the remakes. And you know what it was? Zombies. You just got zombies running after you. You don't have enough ammo, so you got to be smart about how you use it, et cetera, et cetera. Like, that's fine. That's fear I can manage. All right. This Resident Evil Village stuff,
But it takes a village.
It does. It takes a village to scare you.
I mean, what are you supposed to do?
So I never finished 7. I played like the first hour, and I was like, you know what, guys? This is sick. You people are sick.
You're twisted.
I can't watch this, Jared Marc. So I stopped. And so here's the rumor that's floating around. The rumor is that I'm not the only one that had that reaction to Resident Evil 7.
The game.
Yes, there is a rumor floating that a lot of people were like, no. So Resident Evil 8 is supposed to look scary still, but not be as scary.
Oh, they're going to tone it down a tiny bit?
I don't care. I'm still out.
They're bowing.
I'm out. Yeah, and a lot of people, I love.
To everybody else, you can't make them happy.
There are all these people that are like, yay, and all these people are like, I hate everybody. I want to live in fear my whole life. And, it is what it is, and you do what you do, and I blah, 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 whatever.
That's why you need to put some humor in it. And I don't know if Resident Evil's ever had any of this, but the more scary something is, if you just add a tiny bit of slightly dark humor, not the darkest, not super light. Like, you just have to find that sweet spot of just interjecting some humor in to diffuse the situation.
They're not doing that.
They're not doing that at all.
They don't hear that, Nikki.
It's helpful. I mean, if they want to keep it gory,
they need to watch Shaun of the Dead and get back to us.
Oh, yeah, that'd be a nice addition. Like, it doesn't have to go all the way there.
Maybe not.
But a little nod to it every so often would be nice.
Yeah. Yeah, I can't. I'm sorry.
So no Resident Evil, the new game?
Nope.
And that's this week?
It's this Friday, and I see here where they're like, here's a deal. I'm like, no. I don't care what your deal is. I don't want it.
Mike, I appreciate your text. He's like, good morning. I own all the Resident Evil. Is that all the games or the movies as well?
I don't know.
You have to tell us more.
But you know what? It's fine. It's fine. You know what? It's fine if you can handle that. I can't handle it.
Okay.
And you know what?
That's a no.
I'm not going to handle it. And I'm not going to be pressured into it by internet ads or Mike.
You thought they were bad live? Well, just wait until you hear this. The Worst of the Riot podcast with Obadiah and Nikki.
Listen, a lot of people are looking for me to say Happy Star Wars Day. It's not the May the 4th thing is not really my thing.
Oh, because everybody does it? Or
I don't know. I don't know what it is.
Because people would assume you
know
would.
What I think it is? I think I associate it with somebody that I didn't care for very much. And they went ape one year, May the 4th, May the 4th.
Ruined it for you.
And then they were like, and Revenge of the 5th. And I was like, okay, I have to leave now.
It feels a bit, what's the defiance disorder?
It does, doesn't it?
It just feels like that.
Like, Obadiah, why are you so opposed to it? Why aren't you opposed
Which, again,
to it?
people would assume you'd be all over today.
Yeah. And in the middle of that, I feel like we need to throw in here that Mother's Day is this Sunday.
It is.
And while you can go ahead and stick your nose in the air for Alien Day, Star Wars Day, Pizza Day, Hot Pocket Day.
How about May? You would be nothing without her day. Be with you.
Mother's Day is the day that you darn well better get your act together.
Or if not, you got to plan something. So you're going to have to check in with your mom before Sunday and figure it out.
So do you approach Mother's Day as a gift-giving holiday in the same way you do Christmas?
No, not the same type of gift. And it's more like a gift and you want to spend some time if possible. Okay.
So do you ask, hey, Mom, is there something you would like for Mother's Day?
I do sometimes. If not, I kind of know by now.
Is there a norm that you can share, or is it I don't want to say it out loud?
Well, I mean, she'd be listening, so.
Okay. I normally get my mom some plants for Mother's Day.
Oh, that's a good idea.
She loves plants for her porch.
Yeah.
So I'll usually get a hanging plant or something like that. But I don't know.
That's a great idea.
Okay. Yeah, maybe I'll ask her, though. This year, I was thinking this year, hey, what if I just asked her?
Well, you ask while you're saying, hey, is there something we want to do for you for Mother's Day?
Yeah. Okay.
So you get it all done in one, and you got to make a phone call. This is not texting, guys. So this is one phone call you got to make.
You're going to have to connect.
And you got to put more effort in. I know Father's Day is just a bit down the road, but this one is a bit more.
Well,
More important for that first one.
Because, well, all right. Like, your mother wants to connect emotionally. And your dad does too. He just does it differently. For him, emotionally might be watching the game or whatever. And he's pretty happy. But with mom, it needs to be about how pretty she is and how much she's loved you and all the years.
All she's done for you.
Right. You got to do this whole thing. And that's fine.
Actually, what you do is you go get her a card. And then when you're there, just take notes from the other cards on sweet things that you should say to your mom on Sunday. And then break them all out that day. Just wonderful, wonderful sentences to
just
her.
write it.
Yeah.
So you're saying, go to the store,
like if you don't
read
know the lingo
all the
of what
Mother's
to
Day
say.
cards, and then just copy it. But, you're plagiarizing, but in a good way.
Well, no, you're still buying one to give her. But if you're like, I never know what to say to my mom, like you just don't know what to say to make her feel special.
Yeah.
This way you have a whole big list of all these Mothery Day things to say.
Okay. You know what? That's great.
And she'll appreciate it.
That's great. It's good.
In case you're wondering, yes, we do get complaints.
They have gone too far. This time, they are going to be held accountable.
You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
It's interesting to me to see the kind of things on the internet that generate a news article. Like, hey, here's an article, click it and read this article. Because what I find out, and I'm fascinated by it, is just the things that people notice that I would never notice, ever. For example, here is an article about the First Lady, Jill Biden, was out and she had worn a different ring on her wedding ring than her normal wedding ring.
Sure. And then people were...
Let me tell you what. There's a solid 1,000 words, 500 words, and just an incredible number of photos. Like, here she was wearing one ring. Here it is again. Here's again. And now we're on the other ring. And it's like, wow. You notice. That's amazing.
But if that's their thing, then that's what they'll notice. Where you might notice something else and they have no idea about it.
And they're like, the thing that gets me is people are like, was she wearing a ring? And I'm like, what? Like, you go out, you're meeting people, and it's like, I'll have friends that'll notice if a girl's wearing a ring. And I'm just like, what? How do you even... You look for that? That's the thing? I don't notice jewelry. So I only know that I don't want to wear any. Mm-hmm. What's wrong with me? I don't want a tattoo. I don't want any jewelry. I don't.
You got to start talking about things that you do and you do want and you are fine with.
No, you guys don't want to hear those
stories. You got to balance it out.
But I am legit amazed by the idea if somebody saw a photo of the First Lady and was like, that's not her normal ring.
No, but imagine if you're like a blogger and so you're like House of Ring or something. Like you just blog about rings and that's your thing. So that's what you notice. And this is the way to make it topical and tied in with politics. So you're just like, wait, I don't see hers.
I totally get what you're saying. Like, I totally get it.
That's their life right there.
I'm just amazed by it because, again,
details.
You know what? Like, if I saw the First Lady, I'd be like, there she is. It's fine. Whatever. Like, oh my gosh, she has a different ring on. Nope.
Sometimes we don't notice and we're really bad at it to where you're like, who's that? And they're like, oh, okay, that's her.
Yep. But just a heads up, she apparently just likes to mix it up a little bit.
Oh, okay. And so that became a whole, I just hate when it becomes a really big article about nothing.
That's most of the internet.
It is. And we have to fight through that every day.
So she likes... Dr. Biden made the look all her own with her accessory choices.
They make it just filler. How many words do you have to fill up? Okay. They have to meet it.
And you know what? Good for them. They're making it happen. They're getting paid by the word.
That's why there's so much to it.
Obadiah and Nikki tried their hardest, and that's what really matters. This is the worst of the Riot podcast.
You know what? You might be feeling like it's not that time, but you know what? You're wrong, because Christmas lives in our heart every day.
Just it's a little hard when it's in May.
Sing along, guys. Okay, I told you need a
balloon.
You need a postcard.
And
And you need belief.
So what do we do?
Okay, it goes like this. I was coming home late one dark afternoon. Reporter stopped me for an interview.
Hey, what about the balloon?
Right, sorry.
Get sidetracked.
Sorry, you're right. Okay, so back in December, Gianella and Luna, they are twin daughters who will be known as the Gonzalez Twins from here on forward. Their mom was like, you know what, guys, we're going to do something fun. So they got postcards and helium balloons, and they put their Christmas lists on the balloons, and they released them.
Sent them up?
To Santa.
Oh, it's supposed to be a more creative project because I bet they were home during the COVID stuff, so they needed something to do.
Well, somebody found them 650 miles away.
The balloons?
Yes. And when he saw it, he's like, oh my gosh, I have to make these Christmas wishes come true. So he and his wife set about on a project of finding out, like, hey, who are these girls? Where are they? And it took them, it looks like probably a couple of weeks using the internet and posting on Facebook. They ended up finding them, but the internet got involved.
Animated better or worse?
Better. So, like, they just got inundated with presents.
Aw, cute.
But there was one thing that they never got, Nikki.
Well, they had wanted, some of the stuff was candy. Who doesn't want that?
Sure.
Frozen doll, Spider-Man, ball, My Little Pony stuff, and one special thing.
A puppy.
Who doesn't want a puppy?
Me.
Well, that's your allergies.
Even I, you know what? Even with my allergies, I would love to have a puppy.
Still like one. You could have one that wouldn't make your allergies bug ya.
Yeah. So Alvin, the guy who found the note, got in touch and was like, hey, you know, what's the thing they didn't get? It was the puppy. And so they
talked it over.
I don't know if they drove or flew, but he and his wife went out and gave the girls
a puppy. Oh, that's sweet. What a nice story. Now that's going to ruin them for the rest of their life because that's not how life works. But that's great for now.
Yeah.
Everybody's going to be sending balloons up, which you're not supposed to do. It'll kill another animal, but make this cute.
Everybody, I would like to present to you
There's real life.
Example A.
There it is.
Of not believing. So
well,
Nikki just showed up to show you guys what it's like not believe.
Okay, I remember being in the library when I was a kid, and there was some and it felt like it was maybe 40 or 60 years old, this old, and it felt, I think, Swedish or something called The Red Balloon. It's a old kids book or movie about a balloon that follows them, the red balloon. Do you remember that?
No, but I remember that song, 99 Loot Balloons.
It's not that. No,
okay.
It's a kid's thing. I think it's a kid thing. But sometimes kid things are, especially in different, they're dark. So I don't remember. I'll have to look it up. The Red Balloon.
You and I in a little toy shop. Buy a bag of balloons with the money we got. Set them free at the break of dawn.
Now you think every time
they are gone.
You're not, every time you think you set a balloon up, a puppy's going to come.
Awesome. You know what it kind of reminds me of? I remember having a conversation with a kid, they were playing the claw game.
Yeah.
And I was like, you don't want to play the claw game. You'll lose your money. You'll never get it. But I still want to do it. I'm like, well, it's your money. Go for it. Mm-hmm. Immediately won a huge prize. And I was like, well, you just turned into a gambler for life. Great.
I think it's from the 1950s. It's a French film about a red balloon. Mm. All right. Don't watch it, though. I don't remember being young. Don't watch it.
Don't hate me for this, but a French film about a red balloon.
And it's silent. It's silent. There's no, but the boy, it speaks to him. Anyways, it's a very sweet story. That's very nice that these people brought these little girls a dog.
Yes. That's where we're supposed to go. We've gone to a lot of other places. And then in the film, you begin to realize that the red balloon that following him was death. And then you start drinking. And then when he holds the balloon, he flies away, which is him dying.
I wonder. Okay, I'm going to look into it more. I wonder if that's what it was. Oh, boy. You remember sweet things when you were little, but you might have just not caught it all then.
Let's go ahead and wrap on that.
The definition of insanity is putting the riot on again and again and expecting a better result. It's the worst of the riot on RadioU.
Okay, let's take the long winding roads to why they say this is a thing. There's a company called Rockley Photonics. Rockley builds sensors that will read non-invasively your oxygen level, like your blood oxygen level, your blood sugar level, and your alcohol level in your blood. And so they do this using infrared light. I wonder how effective that is.
I wonder if it's close enough.
Right.
Like it might not be spot on or as perfect, but if you weren't monitoring some stuff, is it better than nothing?
Yeah, so like as a diabetic, I feel like that's probably not good enough.
Exactly. But like on some of the other things it's monitoring, maybe it's fine.
You're like, hey, haven't had donuts? Checking. Had donuts. Whoa!
There you go.
Look at the numbers go! Wow! So the rumor is that they have just reported that Apple is their main customer now. And so everyone seems to think that this fall, when the Apple Watch 7 is released, we might see a blood alcohol and or blood sugar level monitor
that your watch could do it.
Your watch.
Yeah.
Would you be interested?
Well, if you were monitoring it, it would sure be helpful if it was all kind of like in one, as long as you're right, as long as it was accurate enough. But if you weren't monitoring it and you didn't want to know and you wanted to put your head in the sand and not see any results on any of your health, then the Apple Watch can be a bit nosy if you don't want to know any of it.
Well, I have two thoughts. One is that you know what? Like, I don't know. I don't want to know. Just don't tell me.
You're on that side. That's fine.
One.
That's perfectly fine.
And then two, the other one is when we start using tech, it's bad enough that it's tracking our movements and that it's tracking what we're searching and like all of those things that it's got. But now they want biometrics.
So they've always done that with your watch.
That to me, it's funny. Like we talk about our line. That's my line.
That's
you
it.
You want to put a camera in my bathroom? You want to hear me sing in the shower? You want pictures of me naked?
But this
Fine.
is too much.
Fine. Whatever. Listen to me prep dinner in the kitchen. Listen, like whatever. But like when you're like, yeah, and we'd also like to know what's your blood sugar and heart rate and temperature. And it's like, all right, you know what? Hands off the merchandise.
If you needed that, you'd probably be saying something different. Like if you needed to monitor that stuff, then that is different. That's when we're like, oh, the convenience far outweighs the security of that stuff was being given out anyways.
Well, to be clear, if you're in a position where you do need to monitor that stuff, then you're already sharing that data.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's fine. But when you're not in a position to need that monitored or not yet, it just feels like, you guys don't get to know. You can know everything else, but this is my line.
This is your line.
It.
It'd make Donut Day really depressing, you know?
This is my line. I found my line. I thought I had no lines. There it is.
Now you can turn that stuff off. Like you don't have to use that stuff.
Yeah, just like you can turn the microphones off in your Amazon Echo and your Google Home.
Never mind.
Look, it has a little yellow light on it. I'm sure they're not listening anymore.
So that's what they were saying might be for the update for Apple Watches in the fall. With the next one, you might be able to have some bigger health additions to it.
Well, there it is. So, you know what? I just can't wait to upgrade. Let's do this.
You're ready.
Everything you love about the Riot, plus a handy-dandy fast-forward option. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
When talking about talents that I have, one is losing things and two is spending too much on things. It's actually very good for the economy.
It is.
I lose things and then go on to spend too much on things and then lose them and then buy more. As you can see, that, again, like, what am I? I generate business, people.
Well,
that's what I do.
You're helping the economy.
I am. So I have been eyeballing. I need a new pair of headphones, earbuds, something to work out with. Now, I'll tell you, while I run, I actually wear straight up headphones on my head.
Okay.
Because
so this is more for lifting?
Yeah. When I run, if I have earbuds in, do you know what I hear constantly? Boom, 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 boom,
It
boom,
depends on on them. I think you might be surprised.
Okay. All right. Now, that being said, I spent a lot of time last night reading AirPods Pro reviews.
Yeah.
And do you know what I kept seeing?
What'd you keep seeing?
It falls out of my ear.
It depends, but I mean, you have to see if you fit one of the complementary sizes that the silicone things would work. Like if it would be good for your ear or not.
Okay.
You just have to try and just return them if you don't like them.
Can you?
Yeah, just go to Costco and get them.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Okay, the reason I bring that up is that because, there's a store that I like a lot. It's a center where they sell the micros.
Yeah.
They have a big list of things that you can't return anymore.
They won't. No, you can. I'm pretty sure you can return it to Costco.
Okay.
And then you just have a few days with it. It's the only way to tell. You won't be able to get it just by reading articles about it. You have to feel it for yourself.
Experience it, Nikki.
And I'd bring mine in for you to try, but I don't know. You could try both of them. I still have my old pair.
Nikki, I feel like
I want to clean them out first.
You and I, we've been close for a long time, but there's always been a line.
I don't know if that
There's
crosses
always a line.
the line or not.
I mean, here's what I think. I think that I would be willing, but I feel like you'd be uncomfortable. Like you'd be okay with it.
I don't want you to go work out in them, but like if you just want to try them and like take a lap around the room.
Oh, that's not. Then how am I supposed to know? Nikki, I've got to take them for a full test drive.
A full test drive. Then go buy them and return them if you don't like them.
I'm going to go for a run.
I still think you might
weights.
like the cheaper ones. I don't know if you need the pros. I'm not sure.
See, the thing is that the pros, what I'm looking at, they're on sale. Now, the difference in the price is $50. Now, $50 is not nothing. To be clear, that's a lot of money.
But close enough if you want to make sure you don't want the bigger ones.
If you guys haven't followed along, Nikki and I both have a headphone problem. We believe it to be something that's born out of our profession. And so it's something that while the idea of spending $50 on a shirt or a pair of pants seems absurd.
Something, like that would be normal for everybody else to spend money on. We can't do that.
Right. But, an extra $50 for headphones, what is that?
On top of what it already costs in the first place. Now, I think you should just try it. That is really the only way. You will not understand for your ears if they're going to work until you do that.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad we had this talk.
Okay.
Thanks for being there.
You're welcome.
How to survive the riot. Do the complete opposite of everything they say. You're listening to The Riot on RadioU.
In what is, to me, kind of shocking news, Bill and Melinda Gates are getting divorced.
That was what everybody was talking about yesterday evening.
You know what? I must have done my prep right before the announcement because I didn't see it until this morning.
And I guess I thought they were married for a lot longer, but is it 27?
27 years.
27 years.
They got married in 1994, but they've been together longer than that. So they dated for more than a year before they got married.
They seem older, so I guess I just think more numbers.
Well, you know what? It's interesting. He's 65, she's 56.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So there's a 9-year age gap there. And they met each other in 1987. But apparently the moment for Bill when he really, fell in love was when she beat him at Clue. And he was enamored. Oh. She beat him at Clue. And he's like, I love this woman.
This is the one, but not anymore. So they're saying that. They just said that they just can't stay together.
Yeah, I looked over he put out, is this on Twitter? Yeah, I think it is, where he basically just says, hey, we want to continue to work together on our foundation. However, we don't feel like we can grow together as a couple in the coming years. So it's
not
done.
uncommon when we the kids are older, then sometimes your parents split up.
Yeah.
So I don't know how old his kids are and if they are kind of at that point where they just don't do that anymore.
I wonder, and I mean, I have my parents got divorced when I was 6, I think. And it essentially broke my world into tiny, tiny pieces. It was awful. I wonder as an adult if it
would have been easier if they would have waited. I don't know, because then if they don't like each other and they go through that whole time, you'll know that as the kid. You'll feel that too. I'm sure it brings its own problems.
And what do you call it? I have a friend. Why did I? Never mind. So I have a friend whose parents got divorced just a couple years ago, and his youngest sibling I think is 27.
Oh, so they waited.
And then like all the kids are married.
Sure.
And now the parents are getting divorced. And it's like, man, okay, I'm just talking here. So
Gotcha.
I realize there's a lot of complicated interpersonal reasons, but I feel like when I get to that age, I'll just be like, you know what? Just move into that bedroom. We're fine.
Yeah, I get what you're saying. Like why do it?
Whatever. Like, I'll just live over here. We can still have toast together in the morning. We're fine.
I see that point.
It's too much effort. Like, whatever.
But I think maybe if, your parents, like if everybody does leave the house and then they're all alone and then that's too much time being together that they don't want to be together then anymore. Like that really makes it apparent.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I've seen that. Man, I have a lot of experience with divorce.
Yeah.
So like, yeah.
We just haven't seen it with this much money. So everybody's wondering about that side of things.
Well, I think that's the other thing is like, I think for a lot of people, like, yeah, you just stay together because you like whatever. But for Bill, he's like, well, I got to give a couple billion away, but, we can have our own houses.
We can have all that.
That's another thing. It's like, you guys have so much money. You don't even have to like put a little curtain down the middle of the room or a piece of tape. You guys could live apart forever. It wouldn't matter.
But that's why then when this does happen, you're like, well, what happened? Because something must be so bad.
Yeah. Well, whatever.
But you wouldn't want that. You do want people to stay together.
Oh, of course I do.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I would like to see people, well, in my world, I'd like to see people fall in love, marry for the right reasons, develop in mutual respect and love as time grows on.
A healthy relationship.
Learn to appreciate each other, your differences and how you change over time. And that respect and love continues to grow indefinitely.
Yes.
That's what I'd like to see.
Doesn't always happen. Actually, now most of the time it's not happening, but you want it to be good for them.
Sure would be awesome if it would, though.
It was bad enough the first time around, but now it's worse. Don't believe us? Just keep listening. You'll find out soon enough. This is the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Now, Nikki, what is it that you have brought us today?
So this is the key lime pie M&Ms. It's a white chocolate M&M, and I think that's it. It's just a key lime pie taste.
I believe if Michael were here, the correct phrase would be, I don't hate it.
I don't hate it. I think you'd love it. I was curious if it's like every M&M is a key lime pie flavor or is like one the graham cracker, one the key, and one the lime. But I think it's just probably all in one.
Wait, pause. What's a key?
Really, I'm just teasing.
Okay, all right. I was like, sometimes you know things I don't.
It's from the Keys. So these are the white chocolate key lime pie M&Ms.
Just got hit with lime almost immediately.
Oh, you really get the key lime flavor with it. Is it strong? Are you okay?
I don't know why.
What did that do to you? You want some water?
I got some right here. Man, I'm all broken up about it.
It's just key lime pie. Does that normally happen with you?
No, not that I know of. What the heck was that?
I don't really get the crust.
That's not an endorsement.
I don't get the crust, but the key lime pie flavor, like if you ate a key lime pie, the creamy part of it, that's really good.
Yeah, they do nail that.
Yeah, all right. That's pretty good.
I mean, I'll just
outside
say,
of your little coughing thing with it.
Well, Nikki, some of us are weak.
You can't handle the key lime flavor.
I can't handle it.
It's not bad. It's pretty good.
You know what, though? Like, if we get into a citrus fruit thing, like I'm having a lime drink or whatever, I like that. But when it's an add-on to another thing, I don't like lime.
You don't like it then?
So people are like, I'm having Diet Coke with lime. I don't like that.
No, I get you. That makes sense.
But if you were making like water and it had lemons and oranges and limes, fantastic.
Then you'd be all aboard.
Yeah.
This is pretty good. These are, would we eat the whole bag and like get many, many, many bags? Not sure about it. Okay. Not sure.
Would we eat the whole bag? Yes.
If I was on vacation on the beach,
would we buy another bag?
Yes, maybe not. But they are better than I thought they would be. So the M&Ms, the key lime pie ones, those are good.
Yeah.
Especially if you don't get a key lime pie too often, but you like it.
I think you're right. The thing about it that's the most interesting to me is that The lime is there.
Yeah.
But the creamy lime.
The creaminess is what's
there.
really the prominent flavor.
And that's good because that's what you want.
Dude, if I have the key lime pie, you scoop that part right on out. That's the first part to go and eat.
Yeah. That's all right.
All right. So not bad. We give it 2 limes out of a key lime pie.
Yeah, I will say, though, if you're going to have some, I highly recommend having a little water on hand because...
just in case.
I was overcome.
That might have just hit you at the wrong spot.
I
might
was
not
overcome.
be about the flavor. It could have just been the wrong part.
Is it healthy eating so many snacks, chips, and Oreos every single morning? No, of course not. But they do it for you.
Too many guys got the stomach for this line of work.
That's real love. It's the Riot on RadioU.
How many times have you rolled over in the night and thought, what if a huge asteroid hit us like right now?
I don't know if that's normally. Maybe if you watched like all those types of movies and shows where that was the plot of it, maybe you would think about that.
Dude, who wants to go watch Armageddon right now? Right now.
Anyone? Well, Obi's hand is raised, but I was curious about everybody else.
Anybody else up for it?
Up for watching
Nikki,
that?
you want to bring in the world's best deep core driller?
I think I've seen it.
Henry
but
Stamper.
I don't know if I don't think that I feel the same way about the movie as you do, so I'm probably going to pass on it.
I'm sure that's true. What's really funny is I'm not entirely sure why I love it so much.
You just do.
Or why I remember it so well. Must have been on TBS too many times before Netflix was a thing. But I can tell you right now, like when it comes to Armageddon, I'm like, yeah, let's watch it. Well, there's some people at NASA that feel the same way. You know, they like watching Armageddon. And, you know, I get that because if you go and watch Armageddon, NASA looks really good.
Yeah.
Like, they are the heroes of that story for darn sure. Well, apparently, there was a study that NASA conducted last week in which they were like, hey, guys, went for my yearly showing of Armageddon and then thought, what if a giant asteroid was going to hit the Earth? What would we do then?
Well, I'm sure they have a plan, don't they?
Well, okay. Here's the part that's a little rough. They say that it would take, like, it would have to be within 6 months of hitting us.
So they say that if you spotted an asteroid on, like, say, April 19th, the impact would come on October 20th. Mm-hmm. So you would have that time. And that's not enough.
They say it's not enough. They say that by the time they spotted it, then they determined its size.
That's 6 months.
It would be too late to get any kind of a spacecraft out to it to blow it up. And they say just shooting a nuke at it would not be enough, which, duh, okay.
Well, then wouldn't it make more
You put a firecracker in your hand and it goes off, you burn your hand.
Yes.
You close your hand around the firecracker and, well, your wife's going to be opening your ketchup bottles for the rest of your life.
Thank you. So
see,
for
that explanation was right there in Armageddon.
I know, and it explained it, but they said that it's not enough time for it. They say if you tried to send a nuke at it, it wouldn't put a dent in it probably. So there's nothing that they could do.
That's where they're wrong.
All that stuff with NASA and the movies is all a lie. They can't do anything about it.
The world's best deep core driller, Nikki. They need Henry Stamper.
No, I feel like he'd come through like Elon Musk or some sort of side company that had the money and the know-how to go out and go outside of the NASA boundaries to figure out something.
That's exactly right. So
they did that study over the course of 4 days from April 26th through April 29th, and they used radar systems, data imaging, and technologies like the world's largest telescope to figure out that if something did happen, even if there was 6 months till impact, it would not be enough time to save everybody.
You know what? I don't know if they're bored or if they're looking for funding or, again, they were like, hey, which one's better, Armageddon or Deep Impact?
Let's run the simulation.
We end up watching both.
And then that's what they came up with.
Because I do appreciate Morgan Freeman, okay? You know, being the president, that's great. But, I mean, come on. Henry Stamper.
Well, it's hard, though, because that's a movie, guys. That's not real. So then you go to NASA.
Don't tell NASA that, Nikki. Do not tell NASA that is not real.
How do you go to NASA and tell them, like, well, why can't you make it work? Everything's right there in the movie. Just copy what they did.
Don't you guys have
the same?
Don't you guys have the super secret space shuttles like in the movie?
Another 3 minutes of Obadiah talking about some tech thing he wants to buy. Worst of the Riot podcast.
If you follow me on social media, or if you even spend some time with us here on the show, you'll notice there are two things that I talk about a lot. And I mean, it's not just Gundam and anime and PlayStation. Okay, so there's a few things that I talk about a lot.
There's a bit of that.
But I talk a lot about depression and mental health, and then I also talk a lot about God. And I'll tell you why. One, mental health is something that I struggle with, and I think a lot of people do. And I mean, true, it's probably not everybody, but I spent a long time thinking that I should just be able to handle it, like do it on my own, figure it out, whatever. And I began to realize, like, no, at some point I need some help. And you know, it's funny. I spent a lot of years like, okay, God and I should be able to do this completely together with nobody else's help. Because I've got a relationship with Jesus. Jesus can do miracles. I've seen amazing things happen. And so why on this earth would I need to go talk to somebody when I've got access to the Almighty? Okay, why would I need that? And here's what I discovered is that sometimes God straight up will have you go to someone to get help. And you're like, well, God, I'm coming to you. And he's like, yeah, but I'm telling you to go over here. And you're like, no, I don't like your plan. I want you to have like a wand or a scepter or something, like a wave your hand, something like that. And God will do things. I mean, you even see this with Jesus. Like he did stuff like when he rubbed mud in some guy's eye. What, man, Jesus, why are you putting mud in the man's eye? That's ridiculous. Do the scepter thing. Do it the way I want it done. So I tell you all this because if you are living under this deceptive, me and God are going to do it together and I don't need anybody, don't live like that. I lived like that for a long time. That's a really tough space to live in. It really is. Because what happens is that either means that you're failing or God's failing. And when in reality, neither one is true, you just need some help. And it's the kind of help that God's going to bring you through people. And it requires some humility. Like I know how hard it is. The night before I went to therapy for the first time, I threw a fit. I mean, I was in my basement alone and it was like, how old is this guy? Like I threw a fit about it, like crying, yelling. I don't know if there was yelling, but there was a lot of
probably yelling.
There's a lot of things that were happening in that space. But you know what? Because I have been, I mean, straight up talked to God and God said, you need to go get help. And I went and did that. My life is better. My life is not perfect. I still have struggles and difficulties and whatever. But in being willing to reach out, my life is better. And God has helped me both alone and through people. And it has required both me being willing to spend time alone with God and be honest, and me reaching out to some people to get some help. So I'm telling you all of this because, again, I just don't want you stuck. Isn't it like Mental Health Awareness Month or something? We're 4 days into the month. What a perfect time to reach out and get some help. Because you know what? Not being able to do life on your own doesn't mean you're weak. It just means you're a human being. And sometimes you need a helping hand. That's okay. It's my honor to give it to you, and it's your honor to receive it. We can do this together. We need each other.
The Riot RadioU.
So, Nikki, did you see yesterday the Marvel teaser trailer for like Marvel Phase 4?
I did not watch it, but I saw a lot of people with their responses on what they were looking for, because it's kind of like outlining the titles for all the next big, large set of Marvel movies.
Yeah, and they also gave release dates, which was kind of a big deal. So you've got Shang-Chi and the 10 Rings, September 3rd of this year.
Okay.
And then
so not anything until then?
Yeah, well, I mean, you've got Black Widow. That's happening, is it June or July?
I think
And that's
July.
going to be the movie that they do on Disney Plus and in theaters. But as far as we know so far, Shang-Chi will be theaters only.
Oh, okay. So we'll see what happens.
Right. So Eternals, that's this year, November 5th, 2021. I thought that was next
later
year.
one?
Yeah, I did. So
Is that the one with Angelina Jolie? That's all they keep pushing about that one.
Yeah. And I'll just have to say, I just don't know anything about it.
We'll have to see more.
New Spider-Man movie this December 2021. Let's see what else.
That could be nice right before Christmas.
Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, March 25th of next year. Thor Love and Thunder, May 6th of next year. It's the Tiki Watiti or whatever again.
Yeah,
that
the
guy.
one guy, yeah.
Come on.
He's fantastic.
Man, that last Thor movie was so good. And let's see what else we got here. Black Panther, Wakanda Forever, in which they will not be recasting the character of my
Chadwick.
brain. Thank you, Chadwick Boseman. And then that's July 8th. The Marvels, which is a sequel to Captain Marvel, is November 11th. And then you've got Ant-Man and the Wasp, Quantumania, February 17th. 2023.
Dude, at this point, just print the list out, okay? Just everybody print it out and put it somewhere.
Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, May 5th, 2023. And then they hint at what looks like an Avengers and or Fantastic Four logo, but they don't tell you any more about that.
See, it'd be cool if they made this into a really nice poster that you could print out and that you could just keep at your house and then cross them off as you watch each of them.
It's
a long list. It's a lot of stuff.
Part of me gets like a little excited, and then part of me is like, are we really going to be back going to the movies?
If we were, then I think you'd be way more excited. All this stuff.
Yeah.
Knowing you got stuff for years, you'd be totally happy.
I do there is, love it or hate it, and I would say I love it. There's such a consistency to the quality that you get from the Marvel stuff. Like, it's good.
Yeah, and if we're not back, then it'll just be on Disney Plus. Okay, problem solved.
You know what? I'm with you.
So we don't have to worry about it.
I'm with you.
Think of it as athleisure for your ears. RadioU's Worst of the Riot podcast.
It is crazy out there in a lot of different ways, okay? You just do a little poking around for yourself and you'll see what I'm talking about. Pokemon, I would call it a resurgence, but it's not. It's always been around.
It had a resurgence, especially during quarantine, during the first part of it, and it has continued. Like Pokemon card, like all that stuff were so much money.
Not even Pokemon like Go, like, the game. I'm talking like people with the cards.
Yeah.
Right? And so part of it is because apparently the sale of old school Pokemon cards is like through the roof.
Yeah.
Like they are saying now that the new hotness is you find your old cards from when you were a kid, you have them graded. So like you send them to a company that grades their value. And it's just like comic books do that. Art does that. A lot of things do. And so
we had the time to go through our stuff. So you found all your old cards.
So 10 is considered to be in mint condition.
Yeah.
1 is considered to be in poor condition. But if you go looking, a first edition Charizard graded a 10 sold for $300,000.
So basically, if you want to
$300,000.
But if you want to sell your cards, you have to get them graded.
Well, you don't have to.
But it helps.
But they're saying that if you get them graded, the value
was a lot more.
Way higher. So like another example they say is they had a card that was $10 ungraded, but graded it sold for $200.
I wonder how much then the process is to send your cards in and get that done.
I don't know. I mean, I know there is a cost involved. You can send it to Professional Sports Authenticator, Certified Guarantee Company, and Beckett Grading Services.
How about we try that? That could be our extra way to make some money. Send your cards in and be like, yeah, that looks like an 8. That feels like a 6.
How about this? Right now, the BGS, which one's that? The Beckett Grading Services?
Yeah.
There's a wait time of more than 10 months.
Whoa, to get your cards done? Oh, my gosh. Wow.
10 months.
Yeah, if you could start a company doing that, then there you go.
Isn't that crazy? So... I'm sorry.
Oh, my goodness.
What is wrong with me?
You're boring yourself. He's standing up now.
This will help. So, they are saying that they're calling it a bubble, at least according to this article in Vice that I'm reading. They're kind of waiting for it to pop.
Oh, the Pokemon bubble to burst?
But I mean, don't you feel like that's everything now? There's the coin bubble, the this bubble, the that bubble.
Maybe it'll burst, but it will be not as dramatic as in other times. Like that stuff will still be worth so much money.
You know what? I've never been the card game guy. Like I just don't do it. I don't have any cards at home for this, that, or the other. But if you do, time to sell them.
Man, get that stuff. Find somewhere else you can get it graded. Don't wait 10 months. I mean, you don't know if this will still be this way by then. Get them done and get them sold.
You need to do that, friend.
Don't say we didn't warn you. This is the worst of the riot.
There's a fascinating thing happening right now that we've talked about a while ago, but it's going on right now. And that is that Epic Games is suing Apple.
That's a long time thing. They've been very mad at each other, and that's why if you have it, you have it. But like, you can't. Can you still get you can't get Fortnite on? I
don't think you can get it on an iPhone anymore.
And it's been a good time, like a long time since they had it.
Yes. So here was the idea: is that the Epic Games makes Fortnite, and they have been fighting with Apple about the walled garden that is the Apple iOS store. Mm-hmm. And so the idea is if you want anything on your iPhone, you have to buy it through Apple. And Epic is saying that's a monopoly. You can't do that. And Apple is going...
Coming soon to Fortnite now.
Right.
Monopoly edition.
And Apple is like, yeah, we can. And they're like, no, you can't. So they're fighting over it.
Sure, they in court.
One of the things that's been really interesting that's come out is they're putting out all this information that up until now, they haven't told anybody. Mm. And so Epic, they have their own game store on Windows PCs. And they give away, and I think they give away a free game a week. And it's basically their marketing strategy to get people to sign up for the Epic Game Store. And so they are showing how much they paid the companies for the games that they gave away.
Sure.
So, like, for example, there was a week where Batman Arkham Knight, was it? Yeah, I think it was Batman Arkham Knight was free on the Epic Game Store. They paid Warner Brothers $1.5 million.
Whoa. In my mind, I thought that it would have been free, like just for the promotion of it. But you're right. I guess they would have paid for the rights of it.
They're not promoting the game.
Yeah.
They're promoting the store.
Sure.
And so they say that 10% of the people that downloaded Batman Arkham Knight, and there were 6.4 million people that downloaded it. 10% of the people that downloaded it were brand new users.
And that's what they want.
Who came because they got the free game.
So how much do they get then from the 10% of the new users?
No, that's all they want.
That's all they want?
Remember, like, them seeing growth at the store is what they want. They're basically advertising by giving away a free game. The game that comes in, the only one that comes close to that in, like, money that was paid for it, let me look here, was... they had Mutant Year Zero. That was $1 million. And then Subnautica, they paid $1.4 million for that.
That's a lot of money. They just must run in so much money.
And of the free games that were downloaded, Batman was the most downloaded. Oh, and then Lego Batman was the second most downloaded. Yeah. So that is crazy. The other thing in this mix that we find out is, and this, if you're an Xbox or a PlayStation person, this doesn't matter. But if you play on PC, the only place that you could buy Borderlands 3 when it launched, you could buy it on Xbox, you could buy it on PlayStation, but you could only buy it from the Epic Game Store. They paid $75 million.
No, don't say that. They did?
For that exclusivity.
No, they did not. Oh my gosh, that's so much.
$75 million. They say they made that money back in 2 weeks.
When you said 75, I was like 75,000? Wow.
Million.
75 million just to have that?
$75 million.
And that's why it's like the same thing that's going on with Google and Roku and all that stuff. These companies have so much money and they all want what they want and how they want it. And then they just all fight with each other.
Well, and what they're fighting for is it's
more money.
So funny. But if you ever watched, what was that movie, Office Space, where the guy's like, yeah, you know, they have that little part of the penny that they round off. That's what they're fighting over. They're fighting for these tiny percentages. But just like your credit card company or whatever, if they can get a tiny percentage of each sale, it's a lot of money.
Well, they're also, it's just basically they're butting heads and they're fighting and they don't want to give up that ground because in the future they would just keep losing it.
Well, and Epic and Apple are fighting because Apple gets, I said small percentage. How small does 30% sound?
Yeah, they get a lot out of it.
So much.
All right, well, that's some big numbers we just threw out there. I didn't realize that was so big when they would do those offers for everybody.
You might be thinking that this won't be quite as bad the second time around. Well, you'd be greatly mistaken. You're listening to the worst of the Riot podcast.
I've got a weird question for you, Nikki, but it's something I was thinking about last night. I saw something again this morning, started thinking about it again. Do you think that social media / the internet / whatever, like the content out there that we're seeing, does it make us angry or are we all a bunch of angry people and we've just finally found a place to dump it? Like, I was already mad, and then when I saw your face,
you just got into it more? I don't know. I think you can't blanket statement everybody. Everybody's different with social media, and I think we all react differently.
Sure.
So I don't think saying it's one way or the other works out for the fact that we are all individually different. I think it is a place that people can grow into anger, if that makes sense.
So, like you didn't come angry, but after a while?
Well, also, you didn't realize you were an angry person, but then you get into it, and it just grows and grows and grows, and you're in a place where everybody else is acting that same way, and so you develop into that same thing.
So it normalizes the behavior.
Yeah, and you didn't know you had that somewhere deep inside you, or you just, you just became that sort of thing.
Yeah.
I think everybody's different. You don't know, though.
Normalizing behavior is one of I think the most dangerous thing that the internet presents us with.
Sure.
Is that you have something that is aberrant. So you find yourself doing something that isn't really okay, isn't acceptable. But if you spend some time online, you can find some people that also do that. Yes. And then they'll be like, how dare anyone tell us that this is bad? And it's just because we feel something, it's not always the best idea to just indulge any thought that comes running through our head at any given moment. I mean, I might think of something that is ridiculous or terrible, but I go, no, I won't do that. Then I spend time on Reddit, and I'm like, well, everybody's doing it.
Let's do it. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, I was just looking at, I have slowly but surely been unfollowing and leaving the COVID-19 forums that I used to be a part of because between the vaccine and time, I'm not experiencing the long haul symptoms like I was.
Sure.
I don't have a fever anymore. I'm not getting the cold sweats. I don't miss any of that. I don't miss.
But you don't want to still be in that world
where I'm constantly hearing about it.
And it's always just being brought back up again.
But there was one, apparently I forgot to leave, and this lady was on this enormous rant about how angry she was with people who had not yet gotten the vaccine. Now, see, I said that, and already I could just feel so many
anger?
people like,
do you feel the anger?
People are angry about the vaccine. They're angry about not vaccine and whatever. And I was reading it, and I looked at it, and I thought, okay, is this lady angry? Like, was she angry before she came here, or did she come here and get angry? I don't know the answer. I don't, but I wonder sometimes.
Is that a side effect? No. And more anger?
I will say.
Long haul side effect?
I had a couple of bouts of like overwhelming anger while I was sick.
Sure.
But I knew it was one of those things that I would have considered it disproportionate, and the sickness was making it harder for me to keep it under wraps.
Yeah.
That happened to me 3 separate times.
How about I just tell you guys this? If you're on a forum and it's like a specific one about a particular topic, it's going to be more passionate there because people found it. They were looking for that group. So, of course, they're just going to be more passionate about the subject.
I think we could. Anger's not wrong. Okay. But I do
healthy amount, though.
I do think that sometimes we could manage it better.
Sure.
Thanks for listening to the Worst of the Riot podcast.
Oh no, I missed it. Do it again.
You can hear us live every day on the RadioU network through the RadioU app or at riot.radiou.com.
It's nice to have alternatives.
It is.
If you're looking for an alternative.
If you're looking